This monster chasing this dude. Whenever he looks back, the wolf is right behind him. Although wolves are naturally aggressive, this one, with its glowing red eyes and terrifying fangs, seems particularly more menacing. As it closes in, the guy begins to lose all hope of outrunning it. 10 years ago, a massive underworld tunnel appeared in Tokyo, from which beasts carrying an unknown virus emerged and attacked anything and anyone in sight. Including secondary infections, the death toll exceeded 1 million. Even after that, on a smaller scale, tunnels continued appearing across Japan. Those without powers had no choice but to flee. After losing his parents and watching his sister become infected, all this guy could do was run. Even now, it doesn't seem like he'll be able to keep running for long. Others nearby notice him approaching, with the monster behind him. They wonder if it's the last one while cheering on Spike-kun to do his best, telling him the goal is near. Spike Kaido, 20 years old, is a 6th class purifier. Suddenly, one of them pulls out a special immunity-embedded weapon. Some individuals awaken special powers by receiving vaccines refined from carriers. This gives them the ability to wield power both as a shield to defend and as a spear to purify. However, things aren't looking good for Spike. Just as the wolf is about to attack, it takes a direct hit. From Gotoritsuki, a 3rd class purifier, 30 years old. With the wolf down, the purifiers collect their loot, mocking it for being so dull. A carrier with only a contamination index of 20 isn't much, but for the young man, it was life or death. The purifiers then start talking about the highest contamination value ever recorded. After thinking for a moment, they say it was over 1800. Then a cute girl from behind praises their captain, Guda, for doing such a good job. Now that all the carriers from the tunnel in this area have been eliminated, the disappearance of the tunnel is confirmed. Her name is Mizuno Keiho, a 4th class purifier, 19 years old. Their captain mockingly praises Spike for doing a good job being bait. Now, they can wrap it up. Having a decoy makes the prey come straight at them. It's easy. But this won't be the last time they'll need bait like Siki Kaido. They hope they can count on him again in the next hunt. Hearing this, the young man sinks into depression. And it lasts a while, especially when he checks his meager bank balance. Spike asks if things are finally over. The cute girl, Kazuho, says the results were negative, same as everyone else. Spike grumbles that post-mission inspections are just a hassle, even though they're mandatory. But Kazuho scolds him, reminding him that the checks are for everyone's safety. Spike gets the message and quiets down, a bit awkwardly. Then we learn about specific immunodeficiency syndrome. Spike has 0 immunity against the D virus that carriers spread. Because of that, he can't even receive the vaccine. A single scratch from a carrier would be fatal. It's been 10 years since the first carriers appeared, and yet no other case like his has ever been found. Because of that, from the carrier's perspective, he looks like a feast, making him the perfect decoy. Then we see Kazuho point out how Spike is just too kind, but Spike tells her to stop. In the end, it's fine. If all this means peace has returned, where people can live happily, that's enough for him. Spike wonders if he can even call himself a purifier, if he can't be a decoy anymore. But he understands Kazuho's feelings and apologizes, knowing she's just worried. Still, Kazuho believes that even without immunity, Spike's performance on the battlefield should be acknowledged. She hopes that one day he'll be recognized as a true purifier, not just a joke. Until then, she promises to protect him, even placing her hand on his, which makes the moment kind of weird. But one thing is clear. She really likes him. Embarrassed, she runs off, saying she's going to grab a drink. Spike's situation isn't getting any better, especially now that Kazuho, a younger girl, just said she'd protect him. He can't let his sister Mio see him looking this pathetic. But just to make things worse, at that exact moment, Mio appears, asking what he meant to say. Spike is caught off guard. He didn't even realize she was there. In fact, he never thought his shy big brother would be getting along with a woman. Mio is Spike's younger sister, 14 years old. Spike tries to explain, a little embarrassed, that it's not like that. She's just a colleague, he says, but his sister points out that Kazuho is really busty. Thinking about it, even Spike has to admit, she's probably right. He shakes it off. More importantly, he wonders how his sister is walking around like this. Mio says she's feeling good today and asks if her big brother is done with his purifier job. Spike nods and says yes, adding that he took care of the carriers. His sister smiles. That's exactly what I expected from my big brother. But then, she suddenly starts coughing. Spike gets worried, but she keeps smiling and says she's fine. Having a big brother who's a hero of justice makes her proud. But hearing this only plunges Spike into deeper depression, because he can't tell her the truth about his job, or how humiliating the whole thing really is. Without revealing anything, he simply asks her to hold on a little longer. He promises he'll definitely find a cure. She smiles through tears, just hoping her brother won't push himself too hard. Then he takes his leave. Suddenly, he receives a notification. Another otherworldly tunnel. In fact, quite a few have appeared recently. At the location, a crowd has gathered, even kids watching the team in awe. The captain complains that getting deployed twice in one day is a pain. But having a tunnel appear, right where they already are? That's what he calls lucky. A smiling wolf peeks its head out from the portal, scanning the area for prey. The purifiers wonder if it's the same one from earlier, but one of them notes that no, it's different. Then, more wolves pour out and begin attacking. The captain smirks. These ones look like they might actually put up a fight. He always welcomes a challenge. He enjoys breaking the jaws of monsters like this. The crowd cheers for Gouda. This is exactly what they expect from him. But suddenly, Gouda notices the edge of his blade has worn down. As everyone focuses on that, one of the wolves attacks a purifier. The unlucky purifier screams, because the one that just attacked him was the same wolf Gouda had struck. It should have been dead. He keeps screaming, and everyone watches in shock and horror. The purifier hopes their captain will step in, but Gouda just stands there, watching, even as the man screams for help. Another purifier urges him to act, but Gouda, tense, mutters, "He's already dead." Everyone looks to their captain for orders, but Gouda himself has no idea what's happening. The monster glares at him. His attack failed. Worse, his special immunity seems to have vanished. Then from behind, a purifier shouts for the captain to look. The wounded purifier starts transforming. Everyone's terrified. Moments later, their own teammate lets out a monstrous howl and charges straight at the captain. Panicked, Gouda tells him to stop, then strikes with his axe. But even now, no one understands what's happening. Until now, getting attacked by a carrier meant one of two things. You either got eaten alive, or you became infected, then crumbled to ash before dying. But this time, people are turning into monsters, one after another. The captain bolts. No one told me it'd be this scary. As everyone starts running, Spike stares at the chaos, wondering, is it already over? But hearing Spike, the captain gets a mischievous idea. He yells at Spike, saying it's his job to be the decoy, and they expect him to go face these terrifying monsters, while even they are running away. The horde of monsters keeps charging, taking down anyone they can find. Soon, Spike is next in line. He can't believe what he's seeing, a human attacking another human. Then, the captain shoves him forward into the horde, laughing as he runs away. Spike hits the ground. At this rate, those things will reach Mio in her hospital room too. Just thinking about that fills him with rage, but it's not like he has any hidden secret power to use. So he just stares at the monsters, daring them to come at him. That's all he can do. The monsters charge after him. He's done this decoy job for so long that he's actually good at it. He moves well, ducking and weaving through obstacles the monsters can't quite handle. He even throws whatever he can find to slow them down. At first it works. His strategy is solid. But then, we see a dark entity watching him. It laughs, even sticking out its tongue. Suddenly, Spike sees a monster going after a mother and her child. He tackles it, giving them time to escape. But in that moment, another monster bites his hand. Then more grab him. He screams. He's helped so many people, and now, when he needs help, no one's around. He thinks about all those years spent running, just so the captain and his team could laugh from a distance. He did all of it to protect Mio. Thinking about her, he realizes he can't give up. He has to find a cure. He will. Just then, he stops feeling pain. A notification appears. A portal opens in front of him. The contamination index? Off the charts. The highest seen before was 1800. This one? 10,290. Spike can't believe it. Behind him, monsters swarm. In front of him, another creature walks forward, its aura radiating pure chaos. Spike shuts his eyes, bracing for death. But after a moment, and the sound of countless slashes, he's still alive. He peeks one eye open. All the monsters around him are down, motionless. He looks around, completely confused. Then a voice speaks. It says it never cared for the human world, but stumbling on such a feast was a nice surprise. It also thinks letting Spike die would be a waste. Moments later, he sees the entity, a beautiful girl with a terrifyingly cute smile, asking him to become her host. I really like this entity. Honestly, if things keep going this way, I might fall in love with her. Let's all stay calm. Before Spike can even process the offer, more monsters attack. But the entity lifts a finger, just one flick, and obliterates them. Her power is immense. Even Spike can see it. She calls the monsters pathetic weaklings and scolds them for trying to steal her prey. Then, with a single death stare, she forces even more suffering onto them. Spike can't take his eyes off her. It's not just her power, it's her beauty too. This whole chaotic mess is clearly annoying her. She decides they need privacy. She grabs Spike and takes him away, licking his wounds to show affection. Or, at least that's what it seems like she's doing. She thinks it's better to infect him somewhere quiet, without interruptions. Spike might think she's terrifying. Once they arrive in a private space, Spike notices his wounds healing, thanks to the aura around him. Then, the entity appears again and says, "The infection is complete." Her sudden appearance scares and startles Spike, but she just laughs and introduces herself as Mara Tia, though she says he can call her Tia if he likes. Spike is extremely worried, especially since this whole infection business is something he doesn't understand. The last thing he wants is to die from a cute girl's infection. The entity looks disappointed and tells him to calm down. She assures him there's no way she would let such a delicious meal die so easily. Hearing this, Spike wonders if she's a carrier. The term is unfamiliar to her at first, but then she realizes it must be what humans call beings like her. She casually mentions that Spike was infected by lower-ranked carriers before, but now he should be fine, because she's top tier. As a superior being, she can control the lesser virus inside him. This is brand new information for Spike. He gets excited and curious, asking if that's really possible, because if it is, then maybe there's a chance his sister can be cured. He pleads with the entity to help his sister too. He explains that his sister was infected 5 years ago and has been hospitalized ever since. The entity then asks for his name. Once he tells her, she apologizes and says his wish can't come true. Spike is devastated. The disappointment pushes him deeper into depression. The entity gently explains that right now, she's spreading her roots throughout his entire body, making them one and the same. That's why she can do things like this with his body. Hearing this, Spike begs her to take his sister instead of him. But the entity shows clear affection toward him and insists there's no way she would choose anyone else. She has no intention of coexisting with anyone but Spike. Besides, if she left his body now, he would die instantly. Spike, still unhappy with the arrangement, asks what Tia wants from him. Judging by the way she keeps sticking her tongue out, it's obvious. She just wants to eat him. And to avoid killing him too quickly, she's taking her time, consuming him piece by piece. She doesn't eat much, even among carriers, so it won't interfere with his daily life. That's a promise she makes, because the last thing she wants is for her host to be stressed. Stress affects the taste, after all. Thinking about how he's basically been turned into livestock only pushes Spike further into depression. Back in the real world, someone is yelling, not to make him repeat himself. It's that reckless captain, the same one who left Spike to die. He's shouting in anger because he's being demoted over the chaos he caused. His punishment is well-deserved, after all. He allowed a carrier into the hospital. Nearly 30 people died. The other purifiers on his team understand the demotion. Still, they have no idea what that thing was that attacked. Part of the building exploded and the carrier vanished with it. It's all still a mystery. Clearly, they don't know a thing about the entity or Spike's situation. Fuming, the captain demands to know if Spike has contacted any of them. They all lie, saying he told them he'd rest a bit before regrouping. But the captain isn't having it. He blames Spike for attracting the carriers and insists he should take responsibility. The others may not agree, but they nod along anyway. They don't have much choice. Meanwhile, the captain's frustration deepens as he seethes over how a lowly 6th-rank trash like Spike could have caused all this. He swears he won't forgive him. Then he sees Mio, and upon seeing her, he starts behaving oddly, eerily similar to the entity. Elsewhere, we see that the entity and Spike are also back in the real world. The entity asks where he's going. Spike says he has questions, but first, he needs to confirm Mio's safety. But Tia just can't understand why he's so obsessed with this Mio. Spike explains that his parents were killed by carriers, and now there's no way he can simply accept his fate of coexisting with one. Tia points out, and rightly so, that she wasn't the one who killed them. So maybe his grudge is a little misplaced. But still, that doesn't matter to Spike, because to him, she's still the same kind. However, Tia believes this could be a great deal for Spike. That thing, the feed that attacked him earlier, gains a massive boost in physical abilities thanks to the virus. But in exchange, they keep attacking until their bodies fall apart. It's brutal. But Spike is different. He will remain Spike without turning into one of those mindless feeds. Even better, he'll gain their strength, and more, thanks to Tia's aura. As he watches his hands start to transform, Spike grows visibly anxious. Tia calmly tells him that the stronger their connection becomes, the more power he'll be able to draw from her. Power that she knows Spike desperately wants. The strength to kill those monster carriers. Hearing that he could actually kill carriers, Spike shows a flicker of interest. Tia senses it and immediately feeds him more of her aura. Then, we see Spike meet up with the other purifiers. He's confused, wondering what they're doing here of all places. They tell him they just came to say goodbye. After all the mess Spike caused, even they can't cover for him anymore. But judging from the way they're laughing, it's almost like they're enjoying watching him suffer. Spike doesn't take it lightly that they're planning to dump all the blame on him. The purifiers don't see it that way. According to them, they're just making good use of a useless burden like Spike. There's no way he could ever accept something like that. But then they say something worse, that if he doesn't take responsibility, his sister will have to. That crosses the line. Hearing such disrespect toward Mio, Spike's rage ignites. The purifiers mock him even more, laughing about how Gota probably scared her and how she must be crying right now. Spike starts moving toward them, but they block his way, saying they're not done talking. Then, just as one of them starts yelling, Spike punches him square in the face. The sheer damage stuns the others. Spike now looks just like one of the carriers. But he's not done. He clenches his fist again and growls, "I'll say this one more time. Get out of my way, or the next one's coming right now." He just stands there, menacingly. But these idiots still don't get it, and try to fight. Each and every one of them ends up on the ground. Spike storms straight to his sister's hospital room, but she's not there. Right then, he gets a phone call. It's Mizuno-san. She hurriedly tells him that Captain Gota is trying to take his sister. She tried to protect her, but the noises on the call make it clear. Things are going south fast. Still, Mizuno manages to tell him where they are, the second parking lot at the north entrance. She also begs him to report this to the police. At the parking lot, we see Mizuno doing everything she can to stop Captain Gota. But he keeps walking away, with Spike's sister. Mizuno furiously tries to reason with him, yelling, asking if he even understands what he's doing, because this is straight-up kidnapping. The captain, now behaving just like one of those carrier monsters, doesn't appreciate Mizuno being so persistent. So he strikes her, knocking her to the ground. He doesn't want anyone going against him no matter what. Then, without a second thought, he throws Mio into a vehicle. Captain Gota thinks that if he brings this brat to the association headquarters, then that bastard Spike will definitely come chasing after them. That way, he can force Spike to take responsibility and have all the fun he wants. But just before he can drive off, Spike crashes down from the window above. The sound of breaking glass catches Gota off guard, but what he sees next is a monstrous-looking Spike charging straight at him. Tia notes that Spike's physical abilities now surpass those of an average feeder, completely natural, given that he's been corrupted by her. Then Spike sees his sister, unconscious, and Mizuno lying on the ground as well. Captain Gota comes swinging again, axe in hand, but now there's something different in his face. Tia points out that he's clearly infected, right on the verge of turning into a feeder, bitten and acting like a crazed monster. Gota roars that he'll finish Spike right here and now, lunging forward, threatening to tear him to pieces. But Spike keeps dodging, which only fuels Gota's rage. He just wants to land one satisfying hit. Spike can't believe this guy is seriously trying to kill him. But Gota makes his intentions crystal clear, swinging his blade with overwhelming force. This time Spike catches it, with his bare hand. Not wanting to escalate things even more, Spike asks, "Did he really do something that made Gota hate him this much? Enough to drag his sister into it?" But Gota calmly reveals he doesn't hate Spike. This is just how he blows off steam. It's all for fun. He says it's about teaching kids that their big brother has a job where dying any day is a real possibility. And yet, without complaint, he keeps doing it, just to cover medicine costs. Then he told Mio that it's her fault her brother's suffering. Hearing this infuriates Spike. And if things keep going like this, he'll have more than enough reason to take this idiot down. Even Gota admits the fight's dragging on too long. He just wants Spike dead already. But as he swings again, he realizes something's wrong. His axe is broken. Back when Spike caught it, he snapped a chunk off. and now that piece is lying on the ground beside him. Finally, Gota's smug expression slips. Then, boom! A heavy punch slams into his gut, launching him across the lot. Gota can't believe what just happened. Even Tia admits that might have been a bit much. As Gota lies still, Spike turns to leave. But then, he hears a chilling scream. Gota is transforming. His muscles swell grotesquely. And when he punches now, even with Spike blocking it, Spike is still sent flying. Tia calmly tells him, Gota has fully turned into a feeder. And now the question is, what are they going to do? Because even if he's just a beast acting on instinct, he was still human once. While they're talking and thinking about their next move, Gota moves toward the sister. However, for Spike, things are pretty clear, because the moron in front of him keeps trying to hurt his little sister. So what he must do is also pretty clear. He would do anything to protect her and will hunt down anyone, no matter who they are. With the aura surrounding Spike, one wouldn't be wrong to call him Aizen. As the monstrous Gota charges in to attack, Spike calmly stands his ground while Tia watches to see what this beast can do. Since Gota is punching wildly, the first thing Spike takes from him is that monstrous hand. I seriously doubt anything could survive in front of this massive aura scythe. Gota, still with one hand left, tries to punch again, only for Spike to dodge once more. As Spike keeps dodging, Tia explains that feeds don't feel pain. They'll keep attacking until they're completely destroyed. So Spike decides he'll just keep slicing until that's exactly what happens. And just to rub it in, Spike even attacks him straight in the face. As he fights, he constantly recalls all the humiliation he's endured so far from this Gota moron. That rage builds, putting even more power into his attacks. In the end, Spike says Gota has done a lot for him, and then finishes him off. Once his sister wakes up, he puts on a calm, smiling face and asks how she feels, since she doesn't seem hurt or anything. Mio says she's fine, but mentions that Gota made her inhale some weird stuff that caused her to black out. She wonders if Spike saved her. He says yes, but while he's also talking to Mizuno, Mio asks if that's the same big-busted lady. When Spike says yes, Mio tells him to remember to thank her. Then Mio recalls things Gota said to her. It makes her really sad, but Spike explains that Gota was actually infected by a new type of carrier. So, whatever he said was nothing but delirious nonsense. Spike doesn't want his sister to take any of it to heart. Hearing that, Mio suddenly screams and asks if it's really true her brother isn't getting into danger because of her. She's scared that if he's getting hurt for her sake, then it's just stupid in her eyes. Cheerfully, Spike assures her there's nothing to worry about, because her big brother is insanely strong. He could take anyone out whenever the time calls for it. Mio also notes that her brother seems different now. His looks have changed a bit, and he's not as depressed as he used to be. Outside, people have gathered to investigate what happened. Spike says that with all the commotion today, things are going to be chaotic for a while, so he needs to head back to the apartment. He takes his leave, bidding farewell to his cute sister, who also asks him to be careful. Back at home, Tia takes a look around, but first, Spike decides they need to move on from the situation. He wants to ask about what happened when he defeated Gota, but before he can finish his question, the sight in front of him shocks him. Tia has taken on a look from one of the manhwa he's been reading, and she's looking a lot nicer than before. Not as cute, maybe, but still nicer. Tia explains that carriers are clusters of viruses, and if they're high-ranking enough, they can even alter their appearance to some extent. But more importantly, she wonders if this is the kind of thing Spike likes. Well, Spike can't say anything, he's just way too embarrassed. With her new look, Tia simply tells him to go on. Spike pulls himself together and asks if he was able to use that power on his own because he's Tia's host. Tia confirms that's right. Feeds become stronger than normal humans, but in Spike's case, her abilities have been added on top of that. Now, Spike wonders if all this means he can fight carriers now, since he doesn't have any of the special abilities other purifiers have. Tia explains that the virus inside him, which suppresses the infection, works on the same principle when they clash. Spike suddenly stops her. He doesn't need any more explanation. He understands his power now. However, he points out that he's still too weak. So far, Spike can't even fully draw out her power, since she's only taken a tiny little bite out of him. If they deepen their connection and become more intertwined, then his power will grow. But of course, that would shorten his lifespan. For Spike, this is definitely a problem. Still, Tia says she won't force him. Personally, she'd love to be with him for a long, long time. However, Spike makes one thing clear. They still need to keep this a secret from the association. If they found out he was coexisting with a carrier, he'd be marked for elimination, especially by the high-ranking purifiers. So he needs to avoid getting involved with them. Tia, however, is way too confident. She doesn't think she'd ever lose to a human. But still, she understands and says Spike's safety is top priority. Spike becomes happy, finally out of his constant depression, and says that helps a lot. But then Tia teases that maybe, deep down, Spike wants to keep her all to himself. Spike, red-faced, insists that's not it at all, but Tia notes his flustered behavior, which only fuels her suspicion. The tension keeps rising. Spike's face is bright red. But then, we see a flying drone, maybe keeping an eye on them. Suddenly, we cut to a large monster roaring. The defenders try to hold the line, even though they know they can't last much longer. They just hope that Taino-san arrives soon. Above them, on an airplane, an announcement is made. They're approaching the target's airspace. As the countdown reaches 0, the time to strike has arrived. The people holding the line are losing ground, and the monsters are just about to break through. They pray that Taino will hurry. Above, something sparks. It's an attack. Great galaxy shining meteor justice, holy shooting star. When the monster realizes it's about to be annihilated, it shows a flicker of concern. But that concern doesn't save it. Once again, Taino adds another legend to his already unparalleled greatness. This guy's definitely egotistical. But I guess he's powerful. His name is Taino Uchi, a first-class purifier, 21 years old. Everyone around cheers for his victory. They're all proud of their hero, Taino. After completing yet another mission, Taino says that the struggles of a man beloved by the gods are many. Just as another notification arrives, demanding his attention. He notes that a new type of carrier has appeared, one that causes infected humans to turn violent as well. And the key witness to that whole scenario? Spike. The situation is serious enough that they're sending Taino personally to handle it. Taino himself finds this quite interesting. Even though it might seem like Spike's life is finally getting better, his depression returns the moment he notices that his bank account is even lower than before. Much lower, in fact. He's basically broke now, and yeah, things are getting way too relatable here. If Spike doesn't get a new assignment soon, things are going to get even worse. Tia says he can take down carriers on his own, so there's no need to rely on the association's help. If he works solo, he can collect the shards by himself. The shards, also known as the heart of a carrier, suppress the virus in the infected. They act like medicine, and they're also Mio's lifeline. If it comes down to it, he might not have a choice. But at the point where he can't even buy food anymore, Tia says this already qualifies as an emergency. Then suddenly, Spike receives a message from the Purifier Association, an email notifying him of a periodic ability assessment. At the Special Purifier Association Kawago Branch Training Grounds, we see many different people gathered. Mizuno isn't participating. It must be because of the injuries from that time. Tia asks what kind of event this is. Spike explains that it's the annual ability assessment held by the district. To Tia, this sounds like a big deal. Spike goes on to explain that it simulates real combat, and they test adaptability to different situations. Everyone's rank is determined based on actual achievements and the results of this assessment. In the Purifier ranking system, there are 5 classes, from 1st to 5th. Mission rewards vary greatly depending on one's rank. Tia asks what rank Spike is. He reveals he's 6th C class, meaning he's considered a total weakling who doesn't even qualify for the 5th class. Spike knows he has nothing to brag about, but still, he wishes Tia would speak a little more politely instead of mocking him. However, when the others notice Spike, they start laughing, saying they never expected a 6th class to actually show up. He doesn't even have special immunity, so they can't imagine why he even bothered. They joke that he's only good at being a decoy. Maybe they're testing how fast he can run away. Hearing all this, Tia wonders if they could just take them all down. But Spike says that would be a bit extreme. He doesn't want any unnecessary attention right now, so he plans to hold back during the assessment. But for Tia, this is all just boring. First up, the running test. Next, the obstacle course. They're told to wear weighted vests. Once everyone's in position, one of the candidates laughs when he sees he's running alongside a 6th class. They also point out that Spike isn't using body enhancement. Then they go on about how special immunity allows physical enhancement, as if Spike didn't already know that. Their real motive? To follow up with, "Oh wait, you don't have special immunity, do you?" And then laugh right in his face. And of course, they're not satisfied with just that. They want to show him how wide the class gap really is, because apparently that's what they think makes them badass. They even bring up his sister's infection, calling him a no-talent who's stuck with a burden in his own family. One of them says that if she's not going to survive anyway, wouldn't it be better if she just died sooner? That way, she wouldn't have to suffer, and she wouldn't be a burden on her family anymore. The shot is fired, and they all take off running, even though Spike never planned to reveal his full potential. But the rage inside him boils over, and he unleashes everything, shocking everyone with what he's truly capable of. Even Tia is left wondering why he would do that, especially since he was the one who said they should hold back. Spike simply says there's been a change of plans. Now he's decided to leave everyone in the dust, because if there's one thing he can't tolerate, it's someone disrespecting his sister. From a distance, Tino keeps watch. Spike tears through every type of terrain without breaking a sweat. Even in sections where he should be slowing down, he barrels ahead at full speed. The footholds are spaced 3 meters apart. This is the toughest section of the course. Yet Spike powers through without hesitation. When he finally crosses the finish line and removes his vest, the other candidates accuse him of cheating. That weight must be fake, they say. So Spike casually drops the vest at his waist, flattening the ground beneath him. Special immunity allows for physical enhancement, but that doesn't matter to Spike. His strength is already beyond belief for someone at his level. No matter the challenge, Spike gives it everything he's got, shattering equipment and breaking records. Those who mocked him earlier are now stunned into silence. For the first time, they truly see Spike for the monster he is. Suddenly, Tia shouts a warning. An attack is coming. Spike manages to block it with his hands. The fact that he reacted in time catches Tino's interest. Tino is so renowned that even Spike knows he's first class. Now that Spike has piqued his interest, Tino declares this is a special stage, and they're going to fight. Tino isn't just a top-tier purifier, he's a brand. His face is on cosmetics, snack foods, even chips. Only 7 in 10,000 people are purifiers, and Tino is a first class among them. His power is on another level. It's said he can level mountains with a single blow. He holds the record for the largest carrier subjugation. A human nuclear weapon, a self-proclaimed man loved by the gods. And now, this same man wants to test Spike himself. He even tells Spike he should feel honored. Fighting a first-class purifier is supposed to be impossible. Something Spike admits. But Tino tells him not to worry. He doesn't plan on getting serious against a 6th-class opponent. Tia, meanwhile, is excited to see what's about to happen, even if not seeing Tino's full power is a bit of a letdown for her. Spike, however, doesn't care. Deep down, he already knows. This won't be a fair fight. To make things worse, Tino unleashes his aura. The pressure is crushing. Spike's instincts scream at him. Tino wonders aloud if Spike plans to just stand there unarmed. Spike quickly grabs a sword lying nearby, but even with a weapon in hand, he doesn't feel the slightest bit more confident. Then, with a small knife of his own, Tino also prepares to begin the battle. The fight is so intense that everyone watching decides to run. Otherwise, they'll be caught in it in no time. Since a frontal attack is useless, Spike tries to surprise Tino with his movements, but Tino has no intention of playing tag. Catching up quickly, Tino wastes no time breaking Spike's sword. Spike grabs another, prompting Tino to compliment him on his sharp eyes and quick reflexes. Still, he warns that Spike can't just keep running. It won't be a fun fight for him that way. Spike can't understand the point of this fight at all. Tino reminds him that he already said he's doing this because he's intrigued. In response, Spike asks why they can't just talk. But to Tino, words are meaningless. He wants to truly know Spike, and crossing swords is how he plans to do that. None of it makes sense to Spike. Then Tino points out that his attacks are too light. He wants Spike to take it more seriously. But to Spike, Tino is on a whole different level, even beyond Gouda's beast form. Recalling that moment, Spike also remembers the rage he felt back then. With that rage burning in his mind, he charges and says, "What about this?" swinging a massive stadium light as a weapon. Even Tia comments that, for a human, Tino picking up the whole stadium light isn't bad. This is the power of a first-class purifier. Now Spike finally understands, what he once thought was strength is nothing compared to this. This level is something else entirely. Then Tino asks how long Spike plans on hiding his abilities. Spike is stunned. He has no idea what Tino is talking about. Tino leans in and whispers that he's talking about the strength Spike used to defeat a fourth class like Gouda. That shouldn't have been possible with what Spike is currently showing. After so many hits, Tino starts thinking that maybe Spike has no intention of revealing the truth. And with someone as suspicious as him, Tino says he'll have no choice but to report him to the association. Spike replies that he can't give the details. He has his own reasons. Tino narrows it down to one question. Why did Spike become a purifier? Spike answers, it was all for his sister. He wanted to cure her infection. Tino realizes it must be because of the miasma stones. But still, it doesn't add up. Becoming a purifier always carries the risk of infection, so it's not a strong enough reason. But Spike insists. If it's for his sister, he's willing to risk his life. Tino falls silent, then suddenly throws his knife. It slices Spike slightly. Tino says he feels sorry for him, but as a first-class purifier, he has a responsibility. Then he draws his massive sword, glowing with immense aura. Spike wonders what Tino is doing from that distance, until Tia suddenly yells for him to retreat. Spike quickly moves, but the aura catches up fast. The impact is devastating. Spike gasps. Tino's power is just too ridiculous. Tino also states that he knows Spike is hiding an unknown power, and he's ready to risk his life to find out what it is. He believes Spike is the kind of person who could easily turn evil, and someone that dangerous must be dealt with immediately. So he hopes Spike won't take it personally. But then, Tino senses another aura clashing with his. His watch sounds an alert. Danger nearby. Tino grins. Finally, he says, Spike has shown himself. This is exactly what Tino wanted to see. Earlier, we see Tino reviewing footage of Spike fighting Gouda, alongside a security guard. The guard tells him they're the only ones who've seen the video so far. Tino knows that if it went public, it would cause unnecessary panic. So he decides that once they capture Spike, they'll also make sure the footage never gets out. The guard nods in agreement. Back in the present, with Tino and Spike clashing auras, Tino confirms. This is exactly what he expected. Now he sees a completely different power that Spike possesses. He still doesn't get it, so he hopes Spike will give him an answer. He wants to know why he's detecting a pollution factor from Spike. Since Spike remains silent, Tino thinks maybe he just doesn't have an answer. So Tino simplifies the question and asks if Spike is also a carrier. Spike instantly replies, no, he is not. Then Tino asks if Spike has some connection to a carrier. To this, Spike stays silent, deep in thought. Tino takes the silence as a yes, then intensifies his aura even more for his next attack. But Spike has also entered his Aizen mode and manages to block Tino's attack. Then Tino starts slashing like crazy. He's so fast with his massive sword that his speed surpasses even what he used with the small dagger. The people around, even though they ran as far as they could, are still not clear of the destruction. They're terrified, knowing that no matter how far they run, they may never be safe. Tino once again praises Spike for being pretty good at fighting, but he also mentions that Spike is just wasting his precious power. Meanwhile, in his mind, Spike wonders what to do next. Because this situation is really bad, he even thinks maybe he should run. But where would he even go? Tino senses Spike is thinking about fleeing, but makes it clear he won't allow that to happen. Tino doesn't want Spike to believe he has any chance of escaping. Feeling genuinely afraid, Spike says he's not an enemy. Hearing that, Tino is surprised and asks why Spike didn't say earlier that he was on the same side as the association. Spike thinks that if people found out he could use a carrier's powers, they'd probably dispose of him. But if this continues, his sister will lose her life. So he screams, saying the association is something he respects, and that he would never stand in its way. Tino thinks for a moment, then strikes again with super speed, faster than anything he's shown before. He tells Spike that he understands people like him and shares his theory. People can surpass their limits to protect what's important to them. Such people are worthy of trust. But in the next breath, Tino says his next move will take Spike down for sure. Unless Spike fights with everything he's got to protect his sister's future. Tia finds Tino's weapon interesting. It doesn't have wings, yet it can fly. Then Spike calls out to Tia and tells her she can eat him. Tia wonders if he truly understands what he's asking for and what it means. Spike says it'll shorten his lifespan, but at this point, he'd rather die than fail to save Mio. Tia instantly understands and says her host's wish will be obeyed. Then, she starts taking a bite. As Tino prepares to come down with his great galaxy attack, his watch starts beeping like crazy. Tia is seriously enjoying herself, but Tino changes his attack to make it even more terrifying. Now he's using Shining Meteor Holy Justice. But at the same time, Spike's level reading keeps rising. Tia comments on how delicious he is, and once the reading hits 1000, red aura begins pouring out of him. By the time Tino's shooting star attack is ready to strike, Spike's level reading has reached 1650. An immense clash erupts, with both fighters giving it their all. The ground shakes beneath them. Thinking he's won, Tino says it's a shame. Spike's scythe breaks from the impact, and he takes the full force of Tino's attack. When the dust settles, Tino moves in to finish him. But Spike counters with a monster fist punch, only for it to be blocked by some strange magic from Tino. Soon after, Tino's shield breaks. Tino says, "Now it's enough," and punches with his bare hand. Even this punch hits Spike's gut like a hammer. Once Spike goes down, Tino tells him he can be proud, because even he now considers Spike a trustworthy man. When Spike comes back to his senses, he finds himself on his sofa, right in front of Tino. The sight frightens him, but Tino tells him not to freak out. If he wanted to dispose of him, he would have done it ages ago. Spike has to agree, especially since he isn't even tied up. In fact, Tino even got Spike's clothes changed. However, Tino warns him not to even think about running, because they're in a helicopter right now. Spike wonders where they're going. Tino reveals their destination: Tokyo, headquarters of the Special Purifiers Association. Hearing this, Spike freaks out again. He thinks this must mean Tino wants to take him down, because that's what he expects will happen once Tino hands him over to HQ. But Tino shouts again for him to calm down. He never said anything about handing him over. He explains that Spike has simply been summoned by the association. That's it, specifically because he did mess up during the test. However, Spike points out that half the reason for that mess is Tino himself. As for what happened in the hospital, Tino wants to hear about it from the person involved. If there's anything Spike doesn't want revealed at headquarters, he should tell Tino now. Spike thinks it over and says he understands. Once the explanation is done, Tino concludes that the girl caught on camera must be the carrier, and Spike's improved physical abilities are because he became her host. Spike admits even he doesn't fully understand it. Tia also mentioned that she's not trying to hide anything, but she just doesn't want Tino knowing too much about her. Then, Tino asks if Spike can show Tia to him. Tia absolutely refuses. She doesn't think they'd get along, especially because he looks too bossy. Even Spike has to admit she might be right. He tells Tino that since Tino is too handsome, Tia feels kind of embarrassed to appear in front of him. Tia doesn't approve of this and wonders if Spike's translation function is broken or something. But Tino gets it and says that if that's the case, then it can't be helped. Still, Spike is really nervous about suddenly going to headquarters. He feels like throwing up. Tino tells him again not to worry and proposes an idea. Once they land, he advises Spike not to overthink things, and especially to keep the carrier's existence secret. From one particular person, even more so, because that person's obsession is abnormal, even for him. After knocking and entering, Tino introduces himself and states his purpose: to deliver the full investigation report. There are a lot of people sitting there. Spike immediately recognizes the chairman, Kazuki. He's only seen him on the news before, but in real life he looks powerful. Kazuki, 45 years old, is the chairman of the Special Purifiers Association. He praises Tino's hard work and says he's ready to hear the report right away. Tino states that he had a confrontation with the new carrier on site, and that 6th Class Purifier Spike was the one who fought with him. Then he asks Spike to give further details. Spike quickly introduces himself, but even here, when they realize a 6th class purifier took the special exam, people just start laughing. Spike continues, explaining that the new carrier's abilities made the people they attacked more aggressive and caused secondary infections. He tells them what he saw firsthand instead of just listing facts. Most of what he understood came from Tia, especially about the convergence situation. The explosion happened because the oxygen tank for medical use exploded. He reports that both the new carrier and the berserk infected person were blown away. When they bring up the possibility that the carrier can offset special immunity, they take it seriously, because it poses a major threat. In fact, more than just a threat, the infected person can now infect others. Kazuki says he needs to see results first, but since they also mentioned Spike attracted other carriers and took them down in one swoop, then the credit goes to him. He's glad they're safe. Seeing such concern from Kazuki surprises Spike, but then Kazuki says there must be something they're not telling them. His aura intensifies. Spike starts slipping back into his depressive state, but he calms himself down, reminding himself not to be scared and to stick to the plan. Then he reveals that it was actually the carrier who injured him. The ones who were mocking him instantly get scared and point out that he was the one who wasn't immune, meaning he's infected. However, Spike simply says no, he wasn't. For some reason, he wasn't. Then he asks them to take a look at today's ability measurement test. They check it themselves and are stunned by how exceptional his record is. Tino guarantees that the data wasn't tampered with. Everyone notes Spike's dramatic physical improvement. Tino says that if he had to guess, it's the effect of coming into contact with a new strain of the D virus. It's not so different from special immunity manifesting. This makes the others a little more hopeful, because now there's a chance this could open new possibilities for humanity. Everything is going just as Tino had said. He had already told Spike, if you want to deceive people, you need to mix some truth into the lie. Tino also acknowledges Spike has value, and it would be a waste to take him down. But he reminds him this is just the first step. There will be more to come. Spike asks why Tino is going so far to help him, suggesting it might be better to just report him to the association. With a serious expression, Tino stands and says Spike shouldn't misunderstand his intentions. He is not an ally of the association. He is an ally of justice, and he decides what justice is. Hearing the term ally of justice, Spike remembers how his sister Mio once said she was proud her brother was an ally of justice. Tino then says he believes helping Spike is the right thing to do and promises he'll keep helping him, as long as it doesn't go against his sense of justice. He hopes Spike will appreciate that. Spike says thank you, but Tino replies it's too early to thank him. From now on, they'll have to go with the flow. No matter what, Spike is truly grateful to Tino for giving a depressed guy like him a second chance. Back at the meeting, Tino also reiterates that he believes Spike's physical abilities have improved, though not in the usual way special immunity works, after suppressing the D virus. The others are impressed by how Spike can use the D virus as his own power. They also acknowledge that, depending on how they view it, his bond with the carrier makes him a valuable test subject. They agree he'll need to be handled carefully. Then, a woman stands up, saying they're all ignoring a huge problem. The woman is Nagato Rue, a first-class purifier, 20 years old. Spike immediately gets scared. The aura coming from her is even more terrifying than the chairman's. Nagato questions why they're trusting the carrier's story. Have they forgotten how many people have suffered because of this? She feels like they've all lost sight of that. Even imagining being friends with a carrier is horrible to her, and she proposes that Spike should be disposed of immediately. Tino responds that disposing of him won't help anything. Spike is a victim too, but Nagato insists they're purifiers, and should always be prepared to die if necessary. Tino says he isn't prepared to die in vain. Nagato counters by calling it a noble sacrifice. Kazuki finally says enough. First-class purifiers aren't supposed to fight each other. Both Nagato and Tino fall silent. Then Tino makes a suggestion. After considering Nagato's words and the reason behind them, he admits there's no precedent. They don't know when the virus might flare up, or when Spike could become violent. The only one who can guarantee Spike's safety is Tino himself, so he requests for Spike to be placed under his custody. Kazuki thinks about it for a moment and says it's actually not a bad idea. Even the other members comment that if Tino handles everything, they can all just relax. Spike finds this pretty amazing. Tino just used first-class purifier Nagato's argument to smoothly take control of the situation. But then Nagato raises her objection. She points out that Tino seems a bit too close to Spike and doubts he can make the right call in an emergency. Kazuki asks what she's suggesting. Nagato puts herself forward to take on the role of watchdog. Looks like Spike just went from scary company to even scarier, though admittedly also quite hot. I wonder if Tia would feel jealous. After the meeting, Tino apologizes. He didn't expect things to turn out this way. But for Spike, the more pressing matter is learning what kind of person this first-class Nagato really is. Since he's never seen her on the news, Tino puts it simply, she's the carrier killer. Hearing that, the image of her aggressive nature pops into Spike's mind, enough to scare anyone. Then we see Spike walking beside her. She tells him her squad operates exclusively in Tokyo, and from now on, Spike will be working with them for a few days. So he needs to keep that in mind. Spike understands clearly, especially that he needs to stay in contact at all times. Nagato also apologizes for earlier. She admits she overreacted to first-class Tino's words and said something harsh. She assures him it's nothing personal, which is a relief for Spike. But she adds that this will only remain the case as long as he doesn't try to form friendly relations with carriers. If he does, then she'll have a reason to act against him. Tia immediately calls this a major red flag. Then Nagato tells Spike that her squad is gathering for their next mission briefing, and she'll introduce him to everyone. Spike wonders what kind of people are in Nagato's squad, and these guys definitely look strange enough. One of them asks if Captain Nagato brought in a newcomer. That's Yagi Aya, a third-class purifier, 18 years old. Nagato introduces Spike as a 6th-class purifier and informs them he'll be with them for now. Hearing 6th class, Natsum is surprised. He didn't know there was a rank lower than 5th. He's a 3rd-class purifier, 19 years old. Sumarihito mentions he's heard of Spike, a purifier who can't use special immunity. He's 3rd class, 22 years old. But Hattori, another 3rd-class purifier, 22 years old, questions why Spike is even here. He thinks he'll be useless to them. Such disrespect is something Tia can't tolerate any longer. She wonders if it's okay to take them down, but Spike's not a fan of that idea and instantly shouts no, causing everyone around to stare at him. The purifiers begin to wonder if there's something seriously wrong with this guy. Nagato explains that originally, Spike was supposed to join Tino's squad, but she personally insisted on taking him instead. This shocks her entire squad. She tells them that Spike will also be joining their next mission, so she hopes they'll introduce themselves properly. However, her comments don't sit well with the rest of the squad. They have no idea why their captain favors this guy so much. Some even suspect there might be a secret relationship between him and Captain Nagato, especially that kind of relationship. They make it clear to Spike that depending on his answer, he might not leave the room alive. But Spike is clueless about any relationship, because he barely even knows first-class Nagato. This surprises Yagi. They can't believe there's someone who doesn't know their Captain Nagato. That could only mean Spike missed out on 100% of life's best moments, because to them, Captain Nagato is super cute, cool, beautiful, and brilliant. The reason they became a purifier was because she once saved their life. And they're not just talking about her looks, but also her natural charm, seductiveness that comes out without her even trying. Not everyone among them appreciates hearing such words used about their captain. For some, her true appeal lies in her intelligence and depth. Yagi calls the others shallow. To prove her point, she shows them a secret video of Captain Nagato using cutesy nyan-nyan talk in front of a kitten. Well, I'd say she's exaggerating. She's cute, sure, but not that obsession-worthy. Nagato definitely doesn't appreciate the video. She crushes the phone on the spot. Just then, Vice Captain Hitachi arrives and tells everyone to save the fooling around for later. They're moving out. The mission zone is a dense forest. The squad is informed that the contamination level is around 5,000, a moderate-scale threat, Another squad already attempted a sweep, but the carriers are hiding too well, making them hard to locate. If they're hiding that well, their numbers must be low. Still, the vice captain says he's never seen this kind of behavior before. Tunnel emergence frequency is also increasing, which is worrying. While the squad discusses the threat, Spike introduces himself. Vice Captain Hitachi introduces himself in return. Spike admits he doesn't know how helpful he'll be, but he'll do his best. The vice captain says he'll do his job, but Spike shouldn't expect anything more, especially if anyone pries into his personal life. He'll take that person down. Spike starts to wonder if Nagato's squad is just full of weirdos. One squad member wonders what they'll do if the enemy doesn't come out. They can't exactly hunt them down if they're hiding. But suddenly, a massive gorilla-like beast leaps at him. The others rush in to help and quickly take it down, but the gorilla isn't alone. More burst from the trees, attacking from behind. The squad fights well, taking them down one by one. In fact, they're even enjoying it. But not all the monsters are pushovers. Some are seriously tough. One even grabs a squad member's leg. Even after taking damage, the monsters keep crawling and attacking. Just when Sumo is in grave danger from above, Yagi tries to warn him, but she's too late. That's when Spike jumps, using a squad member's shoulder to launch himself high, and strikes the gorilla mid-air before it can pounce on Sumo. Just one hit from Spike slams the monster into the ground. But it still keeps fighting. When Spike shows his fierce eyes, the monster recoils in fear. One by one, the others start taking even more damage. Once the battle clears, the squad is stunned by the power Spike just displayed, even though he's only a 6th class. The movement he used leaves a lasting impression. Every time they see a monster now, they'll probably think of Spike. They can't believe it, especially since he doesn't even have special immunity. Yagi even wonders if he might be stronger than Captain Nagato. The vice captain praises him, then asks Hattori if there's anything abnormal about Spike's special immunity. Hattori reports nothing at all. So the captain concludes these must be old-type carriers, not new ones. The others must be the same. Even though these monsters were supposed to be hard to find, thanks to Spike being here, they're all drawn to him and keep coming to attack. Tia understands their attraction. She's attracted to him too. The old-type carriers aren't a big issue, but something still feels off. Then they receive an order that signals something truly ominous. The fight begins again as more monsters attack, but Spike alone is enough to take them down. The squad members can't believe this guy's only a 6th class. He's on par with Captain Nagato, maybe even beyond her. Some even doubt he might surpass her. Yagi quickly shuts them down, saying it's ridiculous, though for a moment, even she almost believed it. Suddenly she spots monsters dropping from above, but in the next second, they're all slashed down. Captain Nagato has arrived. She reminds everyone that they're in enemy territory and need to stay focused. Even Spike couldn't see her attack, but her squad is relieved. Now, they're sure Captain Nagato really is the strongest. After taking down about 20 enemies, Hattori suggests that might be all of them. But Yagi disagrees. The numbers don't add up. All the monsters they took down had contamination levels around 100, but if the area's contamination level is supposed to be 5,000, then around 3,000 is still unaccounted for. Spike asks Tia what she thinks. She tells him they're still here. Something strong is hiding nearby. One more is lurking. After Spike does the math, he realizes that if only one remains, then the highest contamination level ever recorded, about 1,800, would be nothing compared to what's lurking now. Tia then says lurking might not be the right word, because the way this ominous creature is acting, it's almost like it's hunting them. Spike suddenly saves Yagi from an attack. A massive plant vine lashes out. In the next moment, it grabs Suma and swallows him whole. Even Tia is impressed. She says it looks like the type that melts you down inside and savors the flavor. Spike doesn't appreciate Tia laughing, while the others, enraged, charge the vine to attack. They quickly realize their attacks aren't enough. The vice captain points out it looks like a new type, and tells everyone to fall back. But Captain Nagato charges in to protect her squad. She slices the vine from multiple angles, fast as lightning. Spike wonders if her attacks are being nullified. Tia says they are, but the glow around Nagato's weapon is special immunity, so incredibly dense that the nullification can't keep up. The vice captain then notes that the main body must be underground. He starts striking the ground, and soon, a thick, ominous aura begins pouring out. Anyone can see that it's seriously there. Then, another vine lashes out at Spike, who quickly grabs Yagi and starts running away. After placing Yagi somewhere safe, he runs back to confront the giant vine monster. He grabs it and says he's going to drag it out. Putting all his strength into it, he rips the vine monster from the ground. Dust explodes across the area. Tia mentions that this might be the first time it's ever appeared in the human world, and also that it's a mid-tier carrier. The vine monster is definitely ugly, but its aura is intense, completely engulfing the surroundings. Yagi checks the contamination level. 3070. That's over 3,000 from just one, compared to the ones they were fighting before. Spike hesitates. Should he use his powers too? Hattori urgently reminds Captain Nagato of what happened to Suma. As Nagato readies herself again, Tia explains to Spike that the biggest difference between low-tier and mid-tier carriers isn't just strength, although that's a big part of it. Mid-tiers have intelligence, and this is quickly shown, using Suma as a hostage against Nagato. Seeing her squadmate like that makes Nagato hesitate. The vice captain charges in to help, but takes the full brunt of the attack. Watching her team suffer again and again makes Nagato lose focus. Another vine strikes, but she keeps fighting. Suma screams for help from Captain Nagato, making it even harder for her to fight at full strength. Spike realizes what the monster is trying to do. He attacks it, but the vine captures him too. Another member rushes in to help Hattori, but Hattori bites him. One by one, the squad is falling. Then the newly turned monster sets its eyes on Yagi. She stands frozen, stunned by the chaos. She can't believe it. These were her friends just moments ago. Spike tries to stop Yagi, warning her that they've already turned, but the vine won't let him interfere. Nagato, furious, attacks again, but Suma suddenly laughs and cries at the same time like a maniac. He screams that it hurts and begs for help, but honestly, it's already too late. Then the entire squad turns on Nagato, attacking her from behind. These were the same people who adored her, who saw her as an idol. Now they want to tear her apart. She can't handle it. She loved them all. Tears stream down her face as she realizes how horribly things have turned. Spike steps forward. He says the monster's attracted to him, that he's the one it wants most. So from now on, he'll be its opponent.